Sagittarius, a spirit is attached to you, and someone is secretly casting spells on you. Sagittarius, if your chest feels tight for no clear reason, if you've been waking in the middle of the night sensing something unnamed in the air, if you've recently felt like someone or something is watching you, not in fear but in strange familiarity, then this message isn't just a message. It's a summoning. Your soul has known for a long time that energy is never random. You feel frequencies before they form words. You sense motives before they become actions. And lately the vibrations around you have shifted drastically. This isn't imagination. It's activation. There is a spirit near you. One that isn't trying to scare you but to warn you. And perhaps even protect you. Someone has been trying to interfere. Not with potions or obvious curses, but with hidden thoughts, binding intentions, emotional projections. And the only reason you're hearing this now is because your intuition has finally broken through the fog. This message found you because your higher self called it in. So take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Don't run. Don't panic. You're not being punished. You're being awakened. And if by the end of this journey something in you feels clearer, lighter, or simply real, then leave your trace in the comments. A word, a moment, a truth. Let it be the signal that you remember who you are. And if your soul stirs while listening, hit subscribe. We'll meet again. Exactly when your spirit needs to be reminded of its light. Gate 1, Sagittarius. When energies try to block your path, but your soul refuses to shrink. Sagittarius, you were never built to clock in and out of someone else's system. You didn't come here to repeat. You came to reveal. And that means your career, your purpose, your money, they were never meant to be separate from your soul. They're part of your spiritual architecture. But here's the thing no one warned you about. When your spirit burns as brightly as yours does, it attracts attention, not always the kind you want. Someone close may have silently cast doubt your way. Not always in words, but through intention. Through withheld support. Through smiles that felt hollow. Through energies that subtly told you, that dream is too big. That idea is unrealistic. Stay small. Be safe. Be like us. Maybe it was a colleague who pretended to guide you, but quietly envied your fire. Maybe it was a mentor who dimmed your confidence under the mask of tough love. Or someone who once loved you, but feared what your rising would mean for them. And little by little, their words became your doubt. You delayed projects. You settled for stable. You questioned your path. You traded vision for validation. But now the spell is breaking. As lately you felt it, haven't you? A strange heaviness lifting. A sense that the fog in your mind isn't yours. A sudden urge to clean, to cut ties, to speak truths you've held in for too long. That's not random. That's an energetic eviction. Your soul is reclaiming the space that once belonged to outside projections. And here's the deeper truth. Someone, perhaps even a woman from your past, has been energetically tethered to your success. Not because you allowed it, but because your light once lit a path they refused to walk themselves. But the cords are burning now. And your finances, your work, they're about to shift. Not because you hustle harder, but because you're no longer blocked. Sagittarius, money doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to frequency. And your frequency is finally rising to match your truth. Expect strange shifts. An opportunity you forgot about resurfaces. A client or employer who once drained you suddenly fades. A project you buried in fear now calls your name. And this time you're ready. I knew a Sagittarius woman who dreamed of leaving corporate life to launch her own teaching platform rooted in healing and truth. But for years, her mother's voice echoed. Be practical. Dreams don't pay bills. She stayed exhausted, undervalued. Until one day, her intuition screamed louder than her fear. She walked out. Within a year, she was earning more, without selling her soul. Sagittarius, this is your reminder. You are not here to serve a system. You're here to build a new paradigm. So if money felt blocked, it wasn't you. If clarity felt distant, it wasn't your mind. If motivation vanished, it wasn't laziness. It was spiritual interference. And now it's dissolving. Say it out loud if you dare. I release all energy that is not mine. I call my power back from every corner I gave it to be loved. Because when you speak that, your career becomes a channel. Your money becomes a mirror. And your path finally becomes yours again. Not everyone will understand your success. That's okay. It wasn't made for them. It was made for the one who walks with stars in her chest and fire in her throat. That's you. And now, you're not just making a living. You're making a clearing. Gate 2 Sagittarius. You're not haunted. You're being set free. Not all loss wears a name. Not all endings are loud. And not all pain comes from people who meant to hurt you. Sagittarius, there was a presence around you. An energy, a spirit, a shadow that didn't come to terrify you. Came to reveal something. Something ancient. Something unfinished. Something that was never truly yours to carry, yet still wrapped itself around you like a second skin. You felt it in the sleepless nights. In the tension between your shoulder blades. In the moments of unexplainable sadness, dread, or heaviness. Even when everything seemed fine. And maybe, just maybe, you chalked it up to overthinking. Or exhaustion. Or being too sensitive. But deep down your soul knew. Something was there. Watching. Pulling. Feeding off the cracks in your self-trust. This wasn't a ghost in the traditional sense. This was energetic residue. A fragment of someone else's pain. A karmic cord. A tie left behind from a woman or a connection that once meant safety but turned to control. It may have been an ex-lover who still thought of you with possessiveness disguised as regret. It may have been a jealous friend silently resenting your glow. It may have even been a family member, too wounded to love you purely, who subconsciously planted fear in your light. Sagittarius, they may never have said a word aloud, but intentions are louder than language in the spirit realm. And here's the truth no one told you. Your openness, your wild, honest, generous nature, made you easy to attach to, not because you're weak, but because you're bright. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere. You speak from the soul, and it stirs others awake. You don't belong to anyone, and that terrifies people who haven't claimed their own freedom. So they try to hold you in place, not always through action but through energy. But that hold is ending now, because you've changed. The vibration of your being has risen beyond their reach. And the spirits, yes, plural, that once lingered trying to whisper doubt into your nights, they're not angry. They're released. You are not cursed. You are cleansed. What once made you feel fragmented is now showing you your wholeness. The pain you felt in their absence wasn't punishment. It was detox. And the grief that rose up suddenly, like waves for no reason, that was your spirit purging what no longer belonged. You didn't just lose someone. You lost the illusion that you ever needed them to be whole. And now, you are remembering what you forgot. That your sovereignty is sacred. That your space is a temple. That your body knows before your mind does. So if someone from your past reappears, be cautious. If their apology feels rehearsed, if their energy feels sticky, if their words soothe but your body tightens, trust the body. Your intuition is no longer filtered through fear. Sagittarius, you are not here to be haunted. You are here to burn clean. And when you do, something strange happens. The silence you feared becomes peace. The aloneness you avoided becomes clarity. And the empty space they left behind, it becomes the exact place your true life starts to bloom. Let it all fall. Let the unseen exit. Let the invisible cords dissolve. You're not walking with ghosts anymore. You're walking with guardians. The universe didn't take them away to punish you. Cleared them so you could breathe again. If you feel this in your chest, write it somewhere sacred. I do not belong to the past. I release what no longer respects my light. Because what's ahead of you doesn't need a chain. It needs your yes. And now, for the first time in a long time, your soul is free to give it. Gate 3 Sagittarius. The kind of love that doesn't dim you but rises with you. Sagittarius, you've always been the seeker. The one who followed sparks across cities, countries, lifetimes. Not to find escape, but to find something true. You weren't looking for perfection. You were looking for presence. And yet, somehow love kept asking you to fold. To stay quiet when your heart screamed. To settle when your fire wanted to fly. To make yourself smaller just to fit someone else's grip. You've been called too much. Too free. Too intense. Too unpredictable. But the truth is, Sagittarius, you were never too anything. They just didn't know how to hold someone who wasn't trying to be held. You love deeply, but not possessively. You commit fully, but not at the cost of your truth. And because of that, many couldn't meet you, only chase you or try to clip your wings. But that old pattern is breaking now, because you're not seeking love from the outside anymore. You've turned inward. You've sat in silence with yourself. You've learned to breathe through the ache instead of running from it. And from that space, something rare has begun to bloom. You've stopped begging to be chosen. You've started choosing yourself. And the moment you did that, Sagittarius, the frequency of love around you shifted. Not the love that takes, not the love that consumes, but the love that matches. What's coming toward you now is not infatuation. It's not fantasy. It's a mirror, a presence, a soul you've met in lifetimes past, now returning, not to fix you but to remember you. And you'll know it's them because of how calm your body feels in their presence. No tightening, no second guessing, just an exhale you didn't know you were holding. They will not try to tame your freedom. They will marvel at it. They will not ask you to stay still. They will walk with you. And when they speak, it won't be with charm. It will be with clarity. When they touch you, it won't be with possession. It will be with permission. They'll say, "I don't want to own you. I want to see you." And in that moment, something old will crack open in your chest. The part of you that once mistook control for love. The part that confused chemistry with chaos. The part that kept proving, performing, persisting. It will fall silent. And in its place, something real will rise. Because this time, Sagittarius, love isn't coming to test you. It's coming to witness you. But, and this is important, it cannot fully arrive if you are still holding the door open to what already walked away. Not physically, energetically. So pause, close your eyes, and ask, is there a part of me still waiting for someone who already left? If yes, that's okay. But now is the time to bless it and release it. Because what's ahead doesn't want the version of you that needs love. It wants the version of you who is love. I once met a Sagittarius man who had given up on real connection. He was magnetic, accomplished, driven, but his heart? Caged behind stories of betrayal. Until one day, he wrote a single sentence in his journal. "I will only receive love that celebrates my truth." That same week he met her. And their love didn't start in fireworks. It started in quiet knowing. Sagittarius, this is your invitation. If love has always felt like a test, let it now become a reward. If relationships once asked you to abandon parts of yourself, let this one bring you back home. You are not hard to love. You are simply hard to fake with. And that's your gift. Write this down if your soul feels ready. I call in a love that honors my truth, expands my fire, and meets me without fear. Because now, for the first time, you are no longer waiting for someone to complete you. You're standing whole. And whole is where your person will find you. Conclusion, Sagittarius. You've cleared the shadows. Now comes the flight. Sagittarius, if you've made it this far, it's because your soul was ready. Ready to hear what the world tried to silence. Ready to feel what you once had to numb. Ready to claim what you once thought belonged to someone braver. But here's the truth. You were always the brave one. Even when you trembled. Even when you fell. Especially when you rose again. Quietly, fiercely, without needing anyone to see it. This journey hasn't been about casting blame. It's been about casting light. On the hidden influences that once drained you. On the unseen losses you never got to grieve. On the way love should feel, not like a test but like truth. And now you begin. Not from scratch, but from wisdom. From sovereignty. From the fire in your chest that no longer asks for permission to burn. Let those who couldn't meet you stay where they are. You don't need to look back. You don't need to fight. You don't even need to prove. Your energy has already shifted. And what no longer resonates is falling away on its own. If your chest feels lighter, if your heart beats differently, if your spirit feels quietly awake, then this message found its mark. Leave a sentence, a sign, a memory below. Not for me, but for you. So you'll remember this moment as the one where your truth returned. And if someone you know is still walking through their fog, share this message with them. Let it be the match they never knew they were waiting for. And if you ever need a place to remember who you are, subscribe. This isn't just a channel. It's a soul checkpoint. We'll meet again. Exactly when your light needs to rise next.